Ding. Speaking of bells, we don't even have our gong thing to way.
No, we never made that back over here.
We gotta bring that over here.
Cookie crumbs. Well, I don't know where it is. We're live. Apparently we're live.
Okay.
I can't get to the room. It totally disappeared from our feed. Isn't that great? All right. Anyways, here we are live from Houston, Texas with Ginger Cook and Sammy, who seems to be snoozing somewhere today. And Ginger? There you are, Ginger. Sheesh.
Oh, okay, we're live. Okay, hi, this is Ginger and want to say hi to everybody and hope everybody's having a happy Monday. This is good. It's been a great Monday, I think, so far. It's beautiful here in Houston. I wish we had air conditioning, but, you know, can't have everything. And there is an air conditioner in my house. The guy has to come hook it up again. So, I mean, we're talking about, 85 degrees here in Houston right now, you guys. So, interesting. But it's really nice. I mean, the humidity's down. It's a really pretty day. So, we're lucky about that. We're not shoveling snow like some people. And, snow has its possibilities too. So, in kind of an honor of kind of a nice day, we're painting a nice painting where I jokingly called this Lover's Leap, but I think it's probably closer to the Kaanapali coast. It looks more like that to me. But in any way, it's an ocean coast. It's very pretty, and we're going to do this. This looks like a hard painting, but I got to tell you, it's not.
Wait. Before we go much further, let's explain. We will not have picture-in-picture tonight because the computer is... John Maker, her fan is on. The computers are processing tonight from our filming we did today, and we can't do picture-in-picture right now. So we're going to be cutting back and forth between Ginger and the actual art. So I just wanted to let you know that when we do that, don't be alarmed. So I'm going
I mean, most people don't even have picture-in-picture, John. We're one of the few people who even know how to do this great technology stuff, and we can't always do it all the time. And so, no things that, it's okay. You're gonna be able to see my palette and my painting. And we're gonna do an 8x10.
Drop down to the old
we're gonna do this wonderful painting. Isn't this pretty? I mean, I just think this is stunning. We're gonna do this, and it's on an 8x10 canvas. And I'm gonna show you a real simple way. And this is sort of introducing you. We've got on our gingercooklive.gallery, we have something called a Wave and Water Masterclass, and a lot of people shy away from that because they feel like they're not enough of a master artist to tackle it. Now, while we do have some real challenging pieces, we also have some beginner pieces too, because the idea behind taking a Wave and Water Masterclass is to paint water in enough different ways where you sort of you're not afraid of it anymore, okay? So this is what we're going to paint today, and our palette is very simple. I think I've got this. Do I need to move this over so everybody can see it?
I can move a little bit here.
You move
I can go like this.
Yeah, like that. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got yellow oxide, cad yellow medium, magenta, cad red medium, phthalo blue, southern ocean blue. Now, if you do not have southern ocean blue, you can substitute that for phthalo green. Phthalo green, and then ultramarine blue, burnt umber, dazzling purple, burnt sienna, mixing white or zinc white, that's your transparent white, and a big thing of titanium. Now those are the colors. And people say, gosh, I wish you'd put this out in the beginning, but you guys, we use these all the time. This is the colors that we use. So you know what? It's just pretty much, if you have those, this isn't, a real tricky. We just do this pretty much, those are our colors. Okay, so what I want to do is just sketch this in real quick.
Gail is asking if you have a reference photo for this particular one.
I have a reference photo. I'm not going to show it to you. How's that? Sorry.
Basically, she improved upon the reference photo.
Because I changed it so much that I'm just not going to confuse people.
It's not even a reference anymore.
So I started off with the reference photo and changed it a lot, all right? Because I had to simplify it a lot. And if you get stuck with the reference photo, then you're going to try to do everything the photo had and then lose the idea behind the whole painting. So sorry, we're not putting up the reference photo. So I'm going to put this side by side like this. I'm going to take out a ruler. And we're going to do a little measurement here. We're going to come over, it's an 8x10 canvas, come over here 2 inches and make a dot. We're going to come up here on this side. I think that was, let me put my glasses on so one can see. Though I can see much better with my new eye stuff here. Okay, that's 3.5 inches. So what we're going to do is just do some sort of little hill like that with a piece of chalk like that. Okay, that's fun. Then I want to come over here about 1.5 inches down, about like that, and draw a little line about 1 inch long. Okay, and just, well, even maybe 2 inches, and just make a small little hill right like this, 2 inches, and then come on up here about this is about 3.5 inches, and come over here, and just short of that we're going to make another little peninsula like that. And what we're doing is we're just going to make these peninsulas. We're going to kind of sketch this in. It's very loose here. Just come back out this way and do another one, and we're going to kind of sketch around the beach like this. So come down about 1 inch from here, you know, make a line, then back up here about 2 fingers, make another little hill that's coming down like this. And then we've got one obviously that's got to kind of connect here like this. That's this one, and this is pretty straight here, see? Straight at the bottom, straight like this. And we'll come out like this for our water and our sand, all right? And that's all the drawing that's really we're going to do in this piece, okay? And I just did enough of that so you can kind of see where it can say this is our back mountain back here that we're not going to see, and this is the water line here like that, all right? So now what we're going to do, now that I've kind of sketched that in, I'm going to come up here with, we're going to do 2 different underpaintings, and we will take I think, let's see, I've got a ruby satin silver brush here like this. This is a nice, it's a number 8 bright, and I'm going to dampen it and then wipe it off. Now I've sanded my canvas so it's nice and smooth, and I'm going to take some burnt umber and a little ultramarine blue like that, and I'm going to come right up here in the front, and I'm pushing fairly hard, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint this front mountain rock, this ultramarine blue. And this is pretty simple to do, you guys. This is a real simple painting, and I want you to see how you might do this, and you know how you might put in a picture like this. All right, so now we're going to put a little more blue with that and come on up here and paint this next one in. All right, here's our similar color. Yeah, sure.
I've got a question from Susan. What is a heavy body paint versus a question mark, question mark, question mark?
Well, a heavy body paint that comes out, it comes out very thick, and it's a professional acrylic as opposed to something that you know, it's got a lot of pigment in it, and this is what professional artists use. It's more like oil paint. It has more the consistency of how oil paint would be painted. So like for instance Liquitex, for instance, now we're going to get a more ultramarine blue here. Liquitex makes a student grade paint, okay? And that's very, very, and a lot of people think it's just easier to use, all right? It's a little too blue. Let's put a little brown with that, okay? I think that's pretty easy to use, and so they have a tendency to want to use that, but it doesn't cover very well. And, you know, that's not helpful. Now, there are some brands of paint are more or not brands, but some colors of paint are more translucent than others. But if you don't have enough pigment, then, you know, in the paint, then it doesn't cover well. So that's why you want it. Now we're going to come over here and grab a little Southern Ocean blue now on the brush. And if you didn't have that, you would use ultramarine. You'd use phthalo blue and phthalo green, and a little bit of white to get this color. But that's really basically phthalo blue and phthalo green kind of mixed together, right? That color, all right? Now as we come back, we're going to kind of lighten this up. Going to take a little phthalo blue back here like that on this one. Here's some phthalo blue. I'm changing the blue, so now you can kind of, and the reason we're doing that is that you can see now the difference between our hills, can't you? Because we've just changed the blues a little bit like that. And then I think we'll take a little ultramarine blue here on this one. I kind of went outside the lines a little bit, didn't quite mean to do that, but that's all right. And I'm going to put this little back mountain in here out of ultramarine blue. Kind of draw a line here like that. Now this is, you can see that we've got these different kind of shades of color, and more to help you kind of see where you could paint the whole thing all burnt umber too, it'd still work. Okay. Now I'm going to just wipe my brush off like that, see, and then I'm going to get some titanium white, and I'm going to come on up here. Now my brush has got paint on it, so I didn't have to mix it with anything, and I'm going to say this is probably where my sky's going to be, up here like that. Okay, that's going to be our sky, like this. And I'll come around and kind of, there's where my little hill is. At this point, I'm not so worried about it. This is just my underpainting. But say, there's my sky. And I'd like that a little grayer. So to gray that sky, I can put a tiny bit of Cad Red medium in it, just like a drop or two, just on top of that. And that will, and you can mix right on the canvas, and that will just gray that out a little bit so it's not quite so bright. Say, Cad Red medium and blue and white will make a gray. So I kind of grayed that. All right, now you want to make sure that these lines here are very straight, like this in here. Okay, so what I want to do now is take some ultramarine blue and a little white, okay, and let's just mix a color over here, a little bit on the palette, and a little tiny bit of Cad Red medium. That's phthalo blue, so well, that'll work too. So let's try a little ultramarine blue with it. That's why I have all these labels, so that if I look up, I'm going, oh yeah, it's a little bit of white, a little bit of Cad Red medium, tiny bit, like 1%. Now I've got this sort of gray blue. And I want to come along like this, coming under here, going sideways, around my, using just this flat side of my brush, like that. And now look, this is so simple to do. I can't tell you that. It's so simple to do that. Now we're going to change colors now. So I'm going to add a little bit more ultramarine blue and white to this. Right about here. Let's just take ultramarine blue and some white. All right, right about here. We're going to put that color in. Water's never just one color, you guys. Water is always a lot of different colors. So that's what you want to have, is a lot of different colors. The more grays at back here. Let's take a little white and put it in here like that and kind of streak this a little bit. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Southern Ocean blue, and I haven't cleaned my brush, but I'm just going to start this way with it, coming off from the end, and I'm keeping my brush strokes level, like that, and I'm just a little Southern Ocean blue, all right, like that, and I'm coming this way, and almost kind of level with this color, all right? So this is just, haven't put any white with this. This is just our Southern Ocean blue color, like that. As we come on down here, I'll put a little tiny bit of white on the brush, like this, kind of lighten it up. See what's happening now? See, I've lightened it up. And as I come forward, a little more white on the brush, I'm going to lighten it up. And there's a lot of colors on this brush, so again, I'm getting, because I haven't rinsed it, I'm getting some different tones, and you may get slightly different ones too, depending on how much paint you had. But you see, we've changed colors. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white and Southern Ocean blue. I want to come up to here like this, with just white. Now look, because we're going right over the light canvas, over the white canvas right here. Look how pretty and turquoisey this water is. Okay, see, it's got this beautiful turquoise, and you want to kind of just streak that in here like this. There we go. A little bit of white. And this is how you get these tones in the water. See, this tone's different than this and that, all right? And now I'm going to rinse the brush. And the reason I'm doing that is because, wipe it off, is because, and now my brush is a little damp. Now look what happens. Just a little bit of water now in that color, and just kind of stain that canvas a bit. So there's our, these are our watercolors. All right, just like that. And let's just bring a little bit heavier down here toward the bottom, like that. Now if we keep going over that, like here's a little Southern Ocean blue, a little heavier, and I could add a few little, you know, like little shadows. You know, if the water's, you know, dark, it kind of means it's deeper. Chances are in a lot of oceans, shorelines, there's a, you know, part where the water gets real shallow, and then there's a shelf, falls off, and it gets real deep, and usually the water's darker there, or there's kelp beds and stuff. Okay, so we're going to come back this way, back into the phthalo blue, and just do a few little streaks this way, like that. Okay, maybe tie a little bit of transparent white now. Watch this, like this. Just kind of streak that in there. Keep it level. Okay, so that's our underpainting for this picture, and that didn't take long, did it? Huh, Look at that. That's our underpainting for that. Now, what I want to do at this point is dry everything. That's the key. This is the key. When we get this far, we've got to dry it all and really make sure this is dry and our hills are dry, and then we're going to go ahead and continue on. So do we have any questions before I hit the hairdryer, John?
Yeah, we do. One person is commenting that the ultramarine blue looks like the phthalo blue. Why is that? Is it just my computer or what? And I'm looking at on our screen, they're very similar, and it could be just the cameras and the way it's being transmitted.
Well, one way you can tell, and that's why we label them. Let me just put some white with our phthalo. Okay, there's white with our phthalo. Okay.
Wipe that off clean.
Wipe that off right there. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to take a little white with our ultramarine blue. Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference in the color?
Yeah. One looks like a greenie.
This is it. Yeah, this is, yeah. So this is your phthalo. And I agree with you. They look very similar. I've got phthalo blue from Matisse, and I've got ultramarine blue from Matisse. And they look similar, but they're actually not. So what happens, I'll show you here, when you add green to this one,
Yellow to make green.
add yellow to this one, you've got this bright green color. See that? That bright green color.
The golf course green?
That golf course green. And when you add yellow to ultramarine, see, where's my yellow? You get, well, they're absolutely right, John. They look the same to me too.
Or did you get them?
So then the question is
Did
did they put ultramarine blue in this bottle or not? In this jar or not? Did they put it in
Did you
there?
actually change tubes when you squeezed them out?
Sure.
Should we do a replay?
Sure. Here's the ultramarine blue. Maybe I didn't.
That
Now,
looks like different. That looks different.
it does, doesn't it? Okay. Wow. Okay, so I just put the same color out twice. You see? Good job. Right. So now we're
We
going.
were just testing you guys to see
There,
how good you
now,
really
now
are.
see the difference when you put green with, see the green, yellow. If you're not sure, mix yellow with it, and that'll tell you for sure. Okay, so then what you do, I love that. That's great. Okay, so.
And I'm so glad the eyes are working good.
Just, well, I mean, and these are big, this is big print too, So then what we're going to do is, let's take some of that ultramarine blue, which is not that, again. Here, gosh.
Take your palette knife, scrape it off, and move it over.
I just got to move it over. Got to take
Move it
all of
over.
this and move it over, man. I'm just going to take it off. Just there. That's like this. I don't think it moves very well. There. I'm taking all that off. All right. So now, let's try this again. Huh. Well.
That's
Okay,
good.
that's why we go live. I could have done an hour of this. All right, so there's my ultramarine blue. Let's put a little of that over here too. Let's take it in here, and it's kind of there you go. See, now we'll put a little of this ultramarine blue here. The ultramarine blue has a tendency to want to be back this way, toward the back here. So this is where we're going to put that color. All right, there, good. All right, awesome. Okay. So now I feel pretty good about drying it, and I'm going to take a little of that ultramarine blue and a tiny bit of cad red medium and make a gray color. Here, just a little bit with a little white, right? There's a kind of a deep gray. See it, kind of a purpley gray color.
It's a pretty color.
And then I'm going to put that with a little bit of phthalo with it, just a touch, right? I'm going to put that over this one here like this and change this little dark hill back here. It's a little darker than I want it, but I can. There, okay. All right, so I can change that. All right, so that's way in the background. That's good. We've changed all that, and this all seems to be working. Great.
Okay, I have another question for you since you're on a roll.
On a roll, yes?
If
Yes.
you add glazing medium or acrylic flow to your titanium, can you get mixing white?
No.
I knew that answer.
Everybody asks that all the time. You guys are just going to have to go either get zinc white or mixing white is made either by
Belly up to the bar, people.
Either by Matisse or I think Winsor Newton makes some, and zinc white's made by Golden. Matisse doesn't make either. It makes obviously titanium, but doesn't make either zinc or
Mixing.
mixing white. They just don't. But it's just a color that you're going to want. You just need, as an artist, you just need to own it. Okay. So now I think I feel pretty safe in drying everything. Yeah, I'll move stuff out of the way. Gonna dry this? We good?
Yeah, I think so.
I love that. Well, thanks for that's a good catch. Who caught that? For instance, that's a better.
I believe it was Amanda.
Amanda, man, you have just won a free download, a loadable
You
video.
got the question of the day. Woo!
Question of the day, man. That is the
Ding, ding,
question
ding,
of the
ding,
day.
ding,
Ding, ding, ding,
ding.
ding, man. You have won either a week worth of lessons at gingercooklive.gallery or one downloadable video of your choice. So
Go
let us
to
know.
Ginger Cook.
You tell them why I dry.
Congratulations, Amanda. Thanks. You're quiet. I shot you off. I think that was Amanda, right, asking that question. Amanda, if you're out there in Never Never Land, go to our website and tell us if you'd like to have a download or if you would like to have a week of lessons right there on our website, gingercooklive.gallery. While she's drying that, I've got one to show you. This is from Sarah, called Night Flight. And this is really a fantastic job. If you look at this and you look at how the colors came through, how she got all the warm colors over there on the right and the great definition, the birds look fantastic. This is one of those marvelous items. So let me bring Ginger back.
I just want to say that gal that did that.
Wait.
Bring me back?
Yeah, now I'll bring you back.
I just want to say that gal that did the cloud painting wrote, and she shared that with me on gingercook.92 on Facebook, and she was saying that she painted lots and lots and lots of clouds, following the tutorials we have up here on YouTube, and she said she finally, it just like a light bulb went off and she got it, and you can see this, she can really make clouds now. I mean, it's a doable thing, it's fun to learn to do, and pretty much a lot of paintings have clouds in them. It's good to have, yes?
Good to know how to do that.
Good to know how to do that. All right, so everything's dry. So, here's the rules. The landscape rule.
Oh, wait. Before we get started, can you pull the painting that you're using for your reference down just so we can take a peek at it?
Okay, so here's what we're going for.
Some people just came in late.
If you just came, we're doing this on an 8x10 canvas. We're doing this, we were calling this jokingly on Facebook
Lover's Leap.
Lover's Leap, but I think it's probably the Kaanapali Coast. But in any event,
we couldn't spell that. So
we couldn't spell that, and I don't know that that's true. That just psychically came to me, but Lover's Leap kind of works too. So anyway, that's what we're painting.
Now, the original photo she used doesn't look anything like that, so you're not ever going to see it.
Yeah, we're not showing you the reference, but because we're trying to show you a very simple way. This is not a complicated. Anybody should be able to do this. I have simplified this down to still make a beautiful painting. I'm going to show you how to do this. The first thing we're going to do is take a brush and push the background back, which is very important. We're going to just take a nice brush and we're going to push the background back. I've got a little angle brush here. Here's some zinc white, and one of the things I want to do is take these paper towels, and not do that. Gosh, I'm telling you what, this is a night. This is why we dry. And I'm running this all over the table here and marking up the table. This is so fun. This is why you dry, you guys, so that, in between, see? So you
save as, no big deal.
This is a save as. It's not a big deal, but, there you go. So let's put those out of the way. Now I need two. I need two because I like to be able to wipe my brush off. So here we go. There, okay. And I want to give a shout out to right now when I'm thinking about it, when I'm talking about brushes and stuff, I want to give a shout out to my daughter Cinnamon, who, guess what, if you guys hadn't heard it, the art tripper Cinnamon, she just landed a wonderful, wonderful contract with the silver brush company that makes these ruby satin silvers, and they're going to design her own line of brushes. And I think that's pretty fantastic. And we got a woohoo! Yes, yeah. Woo-hoo! Be sure to stop by and tell her congratulations. That is a big deal. And they've never done anything like that. And they recognize, here's what's happening. The art stores, when people go to an art store, there's all these brushes. And, gosh knows, how would you know what to buy? And they rely on, I don't know who, and some advertisements, some art magazines to sell the brushes. And I think that we're now seeing that manufacturers understand, I'm beginning to understand that when we talk about their products, and not because we get anything from it, because the idea behind it is that nobody wants to recommend a brush that's not great. And so when Cinnamon went around and looked for the brushes that she really likes, and she's going to be sharing those with you and has more stuff. And the thing of it is that how else would you know? I mean,
Except
and that's
buying them all
and then they're
yourself.
starting to understand that you guys as a consumer on YouTube, you have a lot of power. You guys have a lot of power in your purchasing, and you're voting with your money when you go to an art store. And so it behooves them, if they've got something that they want you to know about, to share it. And who's sharing it? The art teachers on YouTube. We're sharing that stuff with you. And that's how I find makeup. I go to those makeup girls, and what are they doing? I mean, you go to the cosmetic counter. Everybody's trying to say, here, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is what we all do, and so anyway, I think that's kind of nice. I hope that we see more things like that. All right, so we got some mixing white, and what we're going to do is we're just going to, well, this is actually zinc, and we've kind of topped it off here. What we're going to do is we're just going to make like little clouds, and we're going to sort of paint over this back mountain. Do you see how we just put this in the distance? If you use titanium, you just erase it. Okay, so we're just coming out up here like this. And now this little hill is way in the background, right? That's all it is. It's way back here, and you don't want too much, because again, you're not trying to paint it out. You're just trying to suggest, and this has to be pretty dry, or again, you'll just erase it. But back here, what we're saying is back here there's a hill, and if you get too much, you can take a little water and just kind of lift some up if you got carried away. But you want to suggest that there's your mountain back there, but he's just sort of mysteriously disappearing on you in the fog. Okay, so there's that one. That's called atmospheric perspective. Now at this point, we're going to just work on our hills. Okay, so let's see, what can I share with you to do that?
What are you looking for?
Oh, I got it. I've got it. Okay, so basically there's some, we know we've got, like, for instance, this hill is going to have some sort of little sand feature, where the sand's kind of running up the hill. And years ago, I can remember being in California on the beach, and there were these tall cliffs behind us, and there were these little squirrels, and they would come down, and there were a lot of sunbathers and surfers, and people just having a good time at the beach. And what they would do, be when you weren't looking, they're very bold. They'd just come up and start digging in your cooler to see what you had. And I wish I could have filmed it. It really looked like something out of Ice Age, and this was before Ice Age, or depending on how old I am, maybe it was the Ice Age. But in any event, this little squirrel had this apple. And he would try to get it up the hill, and it would roll back down. He had a big cliff like this. He lived somewhere up here, right? And he'd be pushing it and pushing it. And everybody just watched. Nobody cared anything. The whole afternoon was trying to see if he could, and it didn't occur to him to buy a little bit about it so it wouldn't run, just he could kind of flatten it on one area. He might have been able to keep it. But anyway, that was fun. All right, so I know that's going to be my sand area. So let's put some lights and darks in this. So we're going to take some of our ultramarine blue, which I so appreciate you guys pointing that out, because you're right. Because really, if you look at the palette, they do look similar on the palette, these two, but they're not. So let's take some and a little bit of yellow oxide, make sort of a dark green color. That's like your army green, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tap on here using just this angle brush. We're gonna tap on some green coming down this hill like that, leaving some of the dark. Okay, just leaving a little bit of the dark and shadow like this. Okay. All right, we're going to say here's some green, and that's just going to be right there. Now there's not much to this. This is really easy to do. I keep saying that. She's going, yeah, she keeps saying that, but I don't know. But and then I think I'll add a little more yellow oxide to that, lighten that up just a hair, and I'm going to come on top of that. And just using just the corner of my brush, have some of this bit that's a bit lighter. Okay, that's here. Okay, and then I think on this one I've got some pretty good green too. So as long as I'm painting that, I'm going to go ahead and add an angle. I want you to see this angle. I'm going. It's like the vines. The gravity's taking over the vines, and they're going like straight down like this point. But we're leaving some of the dark. Okay, that's why you do this dark stuff. And then the same thing here. We're going to do that here. We're going to start coming straight down like this, almost like a waterfall. Think about a waterfall of vines that are coming down our cliff like this. And let's see, what else could I put in here like that? And then this one didn't have a lot. I think I might change this area and bring this out a little further than I had it. I'm going to bring this cliff out just a little bit more like that. Okay. And let's bring this one a little bit like that. So okay, so this is what we have so far. Not too hard. Nothing's gotten scary yet, right? Okay. So then I'm going to rinse the brush. Now, if you happen to own like a buff titanium, this wouldn't be a bad color to have, but I can show you how to make it. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow oxide, a little bit of dazzling purple. Okay. Tiny bit, like 1%, little tiny bit of dazzling purple. Maybe a tiny bit of burnt sienna. Now we've got some sort of a light beige color, okay? Now, what we know for sure is that we've got some beach that's coming along where we've got this white, don't we? Got some beach here. And we're going to kind of zigzag in some beach like that. And then what happens is the sand sort of gravitates up these hills like this. It gets kind of small up here like that. Kind of there's some sand like that coming up this hill. Maybe over here, this is our first layer of sand that's coming up here like this, and just kind of keeping it irregular. Okay, and then maybe had something over here like that, just using the edge of this. It's a little angle brush and you can do so much with it. And the same thing here with this one. I'm going to say that there's some sand here, and then it's bigger here. It's coming down into our beach. All right, so far that's pretty easy. Okay. And let's see, do we want a little peninsula coming out like that? See, another little kind of zigzag this, okay? And then in this area in here, I've got this sort of random area that I'm going to say is our patchy sand, and this is the first light stuff, and then maybe there's a little bit of light edge right here. Okay, so we haven't put any other colors with this.
A question here.
Yeah.
Jean is asking, how about an unbleached titanium? Could that be used?
That's what I just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Unbleached
these people may
titanium.
be behind us.
Yeah, unbleached titanium definitely would work with that too. This is how you'd make it. That's
Okay.
that's the unbleached titanium. So yeah, that's what we're doing, unbleached titanium. And like that, we're going to say, bringing this around like this. Here's our beach, okay? It gets smaller in the background. And we really don't see the beach back here. This is so far away. If you just suggested it'd be way back there, and you wouldn't see it. And that's really, this is really a fun picture because of the way this is. Now, all right, so now we need a little more color with that. So let's take a little bit of burnt sienna and a little bit of cad red medium, maybe a little yellow, take like a little orange color, okay? Now, that's a pretty bright orange color, okay? Now we can tone it down with like a teeny bit of purple, just tiny bit, so it's not quite so bright, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come up over and just tap over in here like this. Some of this color, not trying to cover it all up, but I'm just going to say that there's some of this color. It's coming this way. All right, and then I'll wipe most of this off and then come over here like this and tone some of this stuff in the back down and maybe add a little bit of a shadow here at the base of the sand like this. Cover up some of this. Okay, and then here's a little bit up here. Maybe it's a little darker here. So we've got sort of a two-tone now, looking at that two-tone car. Remember the two-tone cars, John?
Oh, I remember this.
The three-tone, we're just showing our age here, but I remember we had a two-tone Chevy. And I was in junior high. A two-tone Chevy, brand new car, and it was all these colors. That's what made this blue and this turquoise. It was these colors.
Brings back memories.
Oh gosh, it was so beautiful. And my mom had a babysitter, and she was. I needed to get picked up after school for something. I was staying after school, and so they sent Elsa, our babysitter, to come and pick me up because she had a license. She was from Sweden originally, and hadn't been in the country long. She spoke really good English, and she worked for my mom. And in any event, Elsa, car, I don't think we'd had the car 2 weeks, and Elsa ran a stop sign or something and crashed the car and totaled it. And she was all right. Nobody was hurt. She didn't kill anybody, and nobody was hurt, which was good. Everybody's all happy about that. But somehow I got blamed for this whole thing. Did you know that?
Oh, well, yeah. if you weren't late for school or held
Well, I
back
mean,
or
if I didn't
something.
need to be picked up, then I wouldn't have
Absolutely.
called Elsa. And if I hadn't called Elsa, she wouldn't have wrecked the car. And then we didn't go back with the same color because they felt that Elsa would be too upset. I really like this color. I want you to know I wanted my too. So we went back with some sort of, it was in greens, which was not the same thing. Never felt that way about the green car. And it was just interesting. I mean, the whole thing was, it was like my fault that this happened.
We're having a question from BKBRP64.
Oh, okay.
Ask Ginger how she cleans her brushes and palette without clogging the drain. I'm learning the hard way. I've read some great responses here too, but I want to hear from you.
Well, you know, I'm sorry. I've been washing my brushes in the sink for years, and it took 23 years before I had to call out the Roto-Rooter guy to clean out the drain. You know where I was doing it, though, was it wasn't the paint going down the drain. It was the brushes I was dropping in there and the extra tape and that stuff that clogged it. Really wasn't the brushes.
It wasn't the paint at all.
No, really, was the paint was, well, it was all the other stuff that went down the drain too. Yeah, but no, I've never just had any problem with that. I'm sorry, I just haven't. I'm sorry you are. Now, there was one time when I clogged the drain really good, but that was back when I was a kid, and we were.
Probably putting something
I got
down
invited to this party, and the boy I was dating, his roommate, worked for a. We're making another green here with phthalo and a little bit of yellow and a little bit of magenta, right? We're going to come up here like that, and we're going to tap over this blue one here like that, and there's this green coming up here like this, tapping this color in like that, and going to put a little bit of mixing white with it and lighten it up just a bit. And so anyway, I made this cake out of plaster of Paris and boxes. Okay, and we like a fancy wedding cake, and then he came over and decorated it with real frosting, and oh, it's gorgeous, and it looked like we had brought in like a $200 cake to this party. Okay, and did I mention it was we were in high school, we had got invited to this fraternity party, so we wanted to
High
look
school
impressive.
is going to a fraternity party.
Yeah, it's like this, yeah, and
Uh-huh.
we wanted to look impressive,
Older?
at least older and impressive. We were going to bring something. You know how you bring things. You know,
Uh-huh.
we couldn't bring beer, so we brought this cake, but it was plaster of Paris cake, so you couldn't eat it. Sort of was a gag thing, right?
Did anybody try to cut into it?
Oh, sure. And people finally just ended up licking the top, the frosting off the top. But I mean, that was sort of the funny thing. But anyway, all the plaster of Paris went down the sink and clogged up the sink like mad.
No, that was in your house, though, right?
That was at my house.
Oh,
that
was
that
it?
was years ago. But that's the last
Well,
time
that's plaster of Paris. You shouldn't be making that in the house at all.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I just was so excited. Don't you ever get excited about the art project itself? It was the art project. You know what I mean?
Did you ever do one of those volcanoes? And you add I don't even remember what you added to it, and it blows up in the house? It bubbles over and stuff?
No, I don't think my parents could have gone for that. They were just, they were overwhelmed with it. I got in such trouble over the plaster of Paris cake that I just can't imagine if I'd been blowing up the house. No, but, that's a boy thing. Girls generally don't blow up the house, okay? I mean, just saying. All right, let's just lighten this green up a little bit more. Let's add a little bit of yellow to it and a little bit of burnt sienna. We're just going to show you these different greens we're making, right? We're going to lighten this up, and we're going to come back over here. And now this is a new layer because acrylics dry darker, so we're going to lighten up a little bit of green on this hill too, okay? Not too much, but we're going to suggest some green and even a little more yellow. And as it comes closer to this hill, I want it a little bit lighter right here, okay? The brighter the green when it comes close to you, okay? When it's farther away, you want to have it kind of more muted. All right, so I like that green. So let's come on up here, and this is our next layer of green, okay, like this. Oh yeah, so yeah, we that was fun. I remember that. Well, I think, I'm trying to think how old I was when I think I was a senior in high school with the cake fiasco. I think that's how old I was, or just graduated high school. I don't know, but anyway, we got invited to that party. It was fun. All right, so a little more yellow oxide. I'm lightening this up. Do you see? I'm just using the edge of the brush, just like a knife blade, coming on down here like that. So can you kind of see how we're doing that? And maybe making one of these longer. Remember, it's not a fence, okay? Like that. And then I'm going to pinch the brush, take a little yellow oxide, and lighten it up even more.
I think I forgot to lock the focus.
What happened? We didn't lock the focus?
No.
Would you like the focus now?
No. I think we're okay.
Good.
Hey, would you paint the same way if you were painting it larger? That's from Sandy.
Would I paint it the same way? Yeah. I'll do it the same paint order and everything. I might use a bigger brush. Probably use, still come back with these little angle brushes. I really like them. All right.
Lori's asking, how did Ginger break her arm making the bed?
Oh, this is
What does that have to do with painting, people? This is a painting class.
Okay, this sounds like something Cinnamon put her up to saying. You know, it sounds like Cinnamon said, ask her mom how she broke her arm making the bed. All right, this is important. Okay, this is a public service message to you guys. All right. So, do you ever get that psychic feeling to call somebody? You know what I mean? Somebody says you should call somebody. I'm going to come back here with a little dark here and break this up because I got too much. You know what I mean? I got carried away talking to you, okay? So here we go, a little bit of purple. I'm going to break this up a bit. Make sure I've got a good hard line here for the edge of my cliff. Did you ever get that where you get a feeling you should call somebody? So over the weekend, I had this feeling. I really felt like I call a good friend I've known for years. I said, how are you? And she says, I just got out of the hospital. I said, oh my gosh, that's terrible. What happened? And so then what she said was that she had woken up and had a back spasm, and it locked up on her, and they had to take her to the hospital in an ambulance, and it was a big deal. So we were talking about whether I need to tell you the story or not, but this is sort of interesting. Probably not as interesting to her. Okay, let's just bring some sand up here. So anyway, what happened was I said, well, you know, it's interesting. I mean, and she was on the recovery. She was feeling better. She was of course, on heavy drugs by that time, so you know she was feeling better. But I said, sorry that you're not doing well. What was going on before you hurt your back? And she says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I was listening to, remember Wayne Dyer, if some of you remember him from PBS, right? And I'm coming down over here, John, in the front here. So with a little lighter color. On one of his shows, I remember him saying that there was a psychiatrist who had done some studies and could pretty much pinpoint your back hurting to anger, being mad about something. And I remember thinking, well, you know, I don't know that that's true, but at the time, I could remember in my life 3 times when my back had really gone out, my neck, you know, I could move my neck, and they both had to do with my mother. I can just tell you exactly, when I was 13, I had been out to the Grand with my sister and Elsa, the one that wrecked the car. We had gone to the Grand Tetons. We're putting some little rocks back out here now. National Park for a month and a half in Yellowstone, and had been gone for the summer, and we were meeting my parents in Yakima, and then ending up going back home. And I guess we had some relatives or somebody in Yakima we had to go see too, my mother's brother or something. And I remember that night, my back, just my neck going out so bad I couldn't move. Just visiting with my mother, who was an extremely critical person, by the way. So I'm going to bring some of this down here too, into my sand now. I'm going to bring this down a little further. There we go. All right, little shadows down in here. Okay, so then I thought, well, yeah, I can see. And then the next time was Cinnamon's dad and I had gone up to see her, and Cinnamon was about 3, and my neck went out at the same time. About an hour visiting with her, and my neck started to go out, and I practically had to end the visit short. And then there was another time when years later, I mean, I can count on the hands of the time this has happened. And then there was another time when my dad was ill, my adopted father was ill, and my mother wanted everybody to come up and you know, hang out there, and my neck went out so badly. It was another one of those times, and I couldn't move, couldn't ride on an airplane. My back was bad. So I was thinking about what Wayne said, and I thought, well, that's true. And then, and this just gets all down to the breaking the hand too, right? So, and
I
then
was wondering where this
is where this is going, because it's all issues around anger, injury around anger, when you're kind of mad about something or upset, you know. And it's, you know, I suppose it depends on literally what your Achilles heel is, but let's put a little shadow here like that. So anyway, I I thought that's really true. And so then I thought, okay, so next time I start to feel my back hurt, my lower back hurt, or anything hurt, I'm going to ask myself, what am I mad about? And I discovered that a lot of times, if I would just stop and think about the thought I was having at that very second, and change it. And usually these thoughts would evolve around. I'd be doing the dishes, thinking I was the only one in the house that ever washed a dish. One of those comments. You know what I mean? To myself, not to anybody else, but as I'm, mumbling or grumbling, and to myself. And then I would have to stop and think, and how I would change that thought. I'd say, well, I'm really lucky. I have water coming into the house. There's all kinds of people in the world that have no fresh water, have a house to do dishes in. So I'd come along with some real gratitude things about that, and then I could let that go and just be glad I had somewhere to wash dishes and had a dish to wash. But so that's sort of. But back when I broke my hand making the bed, I actually was making the bed one day. This is before I learned that Wayne Dyer trick, and I was thinking about. And my mother and I used to have giant fights over who made the bed. So there was about 20, 40, 50 years of issues about bed making. So I was making the bed, and again thinking I was the only one in the house that seemed to know how to make a bed and change sheets and all that stuff. And I tripped over the covers, and I actually fell back and broke my hand, and really just it snapped the left hand. It snapped all the way back, and they had to put a metal plate in it. I mean, it was
broken. So you're robotic.
It broke in a lot of places, and it was so funny because the night before, Cinnamon had been staying at the house visiting as an adult. John was gone somewhere, and she spent the night, and she came downstairs and she said, before this had happened, she said, I don't know why you can't talk to your guides yourself. My guide said to tell you, and this was like at 4 a.m, that you're going to be fine. Just chill, right? And I'm thinking, okay. And it just moved on, and then. Sure enough, I broke the hand, but I didn't break my neck or anything. But then that was the lesson, was that was what I was thinking at the time. All right, we're doing pretty good here. We're going to take a little mixing white now, keep going with this, right? So now we're going to put in this little beach stuff. So anyway, I was talking to my friend whose back had locked up, and I said, just by any chance, what was going on when this happened? Okay, what was going on when this happened? Well, it turned out that she had a cousin that she and her husband we're going to go see in San Diego. They were going to go see this cousin. See how translucent this is, by the way. And there apparently had been some real bad history. Even though she likes the woman, there had been some real bad history between them. I won't go into it, but real tragic bad history between the two of them back when they were in their 20s and younger. I mean, really bad, some real bad stuff had happened. And even though I think that they had patched it up, and of course they had, right? I don't, part of her, I don't know that she'd let that go because the only way that she wouldn't have gone would be if they'd taken her to the hospital, because my friend never goes to the hospital for anything, She's, in her 70s, I promise you, she never goes anywhere. She's in excellent health, right? Now we're going to come around our little rocks here and do the same thing. See, with my mixing light here like that. And so I said, is there any chance? So she says, oh my gosh. She says, yeah, that's true. And I said, I'm not saying that that's why your back went out, but sometimes if it's a spasm, I'm not talking about falling down and breaking your back. I thought it was interesting about the anger thing. And since then, I've talked to other people about it, and that can be it. I mean, it does not say it's that all the time. Certainly a lot of other reasons why things can happen, but that's been my sort of saving thing, is that. Not doing, just kind of getting into a state of appreciation when I'm feeling a little ungrateful or a little angry about something. All right, so we've got a little, see, we're just using mixing white now. Now look what's happened to our picture. It's so translucent. We're coming around here like this because the things are receding in the back. Let's put a little bit back in here like this. Wipe the brush, kind of play with this a bit. There's this back mountain back here like this. There's our water coming around our little peninsula like that.
I got a question from Gail.
Yeah.
What is an isolation coat in varnishing, and do I need one?
What's an isolation coat in varnishing? Well, varnishing seals it. It seals it like a piece of glass. So, for instance, if you were doing, well, just today, for instance, we were using something called, I've got a video I've got going here. We've been shooting videos all day. Here's something, well, I hold it up like this. This is called golden absorbent ground, and I've got a video on what you do with that. Well, it's literally what it says. It's very absorbent, so that when you're painting after it's dried and everything's kind of wicking in like paper, and you don't want that to happen anymore, then you would make sure everything was dry, and then you would put what they would a coat of varnish on it, probably a matte varnish. You wouldn't want shine, and that would be an isolation coat. That would keep one layer away from the other. All right, that's what an isolation coat is.
So it's not a special. You don't look for a jar of isolation coat.
No.
Okay.
No. And then somebody wrote me today and said that they had been looking for matte medium and varnish, which I keep racking about, right? And they don't call it that anymore. It's really funny when they start changing the names of the colors. You know what I mean? Because I'm all up for that. Now this was all. Do you guys see this was all mixing white, by the way, and all the brush strokes are going back and forth, no up and down stuff, right? Okay, so now we're going to take a little bit of titanium, and I want you to see the difference. Do you see the difference? We're going to give the layer of the titanium and make this irregular, okay? And we're not crossing over the mixing white, which is allowing some of the other color to show through, all right? Then we can come back here like this, and kind of break up our rocks a bit. It's not staying focused. John's going to focus it because it's just making him crazy. But it's okay. Go ahead and focus the camera. It's been a strange day. Mondays are always kind of our fun day, aren't they? I watched the Academy Awards last night. That was fun. That was just, oh man, I had such a good time watching that. And thanks, John. I really, cause John and I got John to watch it with me. We watched the Academy Awards last night, and we've seen some of those movies, so that we were watching that. And it was interesting when they gave out the wrong awards at the end. That was always fun.
Well, it was interesting. Not for the people receiving it.
No, that not so. But imagine the thrill they had for a second or two. You can't. There's nothing like the thrill of winning something like that. And they had that for a minute or two, even if they took it back, right?
I believe it's the thrill of victory.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Now look, here's a little. I'm zigzagging in a little bit like this, and indicating another little kind of. The ocean's very calm today, so we're not doing much with it. Now we're coming back to a little bit of mixing white, and we're kind of come around the coast here, like this, and just next to our sail here, and I'm kind of following around. See, it allows you to be translucent here, like that. There you go, kind of following around our little cliff. Isn't this a fun picture? This is not hard to do. Anyway, we watched that last night. That was really fun, and have tried to see some of the movies that were out. That's.
Oh, Emma Stone is my sister's cousin.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's Emma Stone?
She was on last night. She's the one that was supposedly won it. They said her name.
Oh, is that her? Okay.
Yeah, that's Nancy's cousin.
Oh, no kidding.
Nice to show up, Nance. A little late.
Hi, Nancy. All right. Well, that's cool. All right. So we're going to come along here like this and make we're in a little bit of white now, titanium, okay? And we're going to skip along here like this and zigzag this. See, I'm kind of holding the brush flat and just sort of zigzagging this along here like this, sort of suggesting a little bit of a current, maybe something like this. So it connects that. So it's going around our coast. Are you sure you focused that?
It looks a lot better than it did, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now let's take a little bit of mixing white and do the same thing here. Let's just come out here like this, from around this, and like this cliff, like this too, like that, okay? This would be narrower here, and a little bit wider here around our point there, like that. So, okay, so see how we did that? Okay, then that's kind of cool, isn't it? I mean, look at that. Well, look at what we've done in just a little under an hour. I mean, just a little under an hour. And now that we've done that, we're still in the mixing white. Okay, so now this has had a chance to dry. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is this mountain here, and I'm just going to use this brush like this, and I'm going to create some fog with the mixing white between this mountain, say, and that one. Now, I'd rather not trash my good brush to do that, because what happens is you start scrubbing on brushes, it does have a tendency to be a little rough on them. So I'd rather take a brush that I was less fond of. Here's sort of a, just a little...
Less fond of, that's so nice.
And
hey, that's the one I use for the backgrounds.
Yeah, I'm going to just take this is a Simply Simmons little soft brush here, and I'm going to come up here like this, and we're going to tap off most of this, and soft brush, and we're just going to come up here like this and suggest a fog bank on this cliff right here. See that? We don't need to talk about this cliff that much, like that. There you go. And maybe a little bit up here like that. Okay. Now again, if you got carried away with your smog, you could erase a little bit here. Just take a little bit out. Just take a little water and just give yourself a hole for it to breathe, right? Like that. All right. Now I want to do the same thing on this one. This little cliff right here. Okay. All right, we're going to do that. A little mixing white here like this, and just make sure your brush is dry. If you have water on your brush, this isn't as effective. Like that. Where it is not as effective. That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah. So there we go. And let's see. Let's just come on down here like that, and do that. Little bit of a smog thing coming down here like this. A little bit, not too much, just up here at in between these cliffs. Now it separates it. Now let's zoom us back out. Let's see how we did. All right, so there we go. So we zoom back out a little bit. You can kind of see that we've put all this in the mist. Now I think I need a little bit more right here. So I'll do another second little coat. Tap that in like that. There we go. Let's do something like that. Okay, so that brush is down. Now we'll just keep working with this.
That brush is dead. Is that what you just said?
I said it's down. I put it down.
Oh, down. Okay.
We haven't killed any brushes.
Because that's my brush. That's what that's the only thing I got. That's what Sammy and I use.
Oh, stop with the.
What is?
Poor me.
I mean, we did a whole background for you.
With that brush.
That brush.
And it's got some sort of sacred meaning now.
Well, it's my first brush.
Okay.
It's going to be, immortalized.
Oh. Okay.
It has feelings,
It's not just the teddy bear. Now the brushes have feelings.
What teddy bear? Sammy! Wake up, boy. Back me up on this.
Okay. All right, John. It's all right. We're good with that. We'll wash the brush and give it back to you. You'll be fine. Hang in there with us, baby. You'll be fine. All right, moving on.
Brushes.
Moving on here. Now I've got a little bit brighter green here. We're going to come through and we're just going to finish the foliage on the front of this. I think it's a fun picture. I think it's all a bunch of different greens. Let's take a little Southern Ocean blue, a little yellow oxide, and make it green. That's pretty. Tiny bit of cad. Oh no, let's put a little magenta with it. That's good. All right. Magenta is kind of. Oh, look at that. We're going to tap on. We're saying this little bank of stuff, of little ground cover. A lot of times on cliffs they have something called ice plant. They do that in Southern California. They have something called ice plant. It comes in all these colors, and it will grow even if there's saltwater spray. It can somehow live in the scariest places. Called ice plant. And so we're just going to suggest that this is all kind of green here, like that. And you see we're just using our angle brush again. And I'm going to come down here over the dark. And when you run out of paint, just make some more. This is not a big deal. If you have to make some more colors, that's fine. That's a nice color of green. Here, let's just do that. See, let's just keep going here with this sort of almost an army green. Kind of follow it down. Everything is about layers. That's what I would say. It's all about layers. But it gets really pretty. And I think I want to say this is a deliberate part of the... now I'm going to kind of paint our cliff a little bit more deliberately. This is what you'd call a hard line, where you actually say, okay, this is my cliff now. I'm going to say that's in the foreground. There's my cliff. Now, okay, so where else could I put this color? I'm looking at it, and could I add a little bit more? How about I put a little zinc white with it and lightened it up? What would happen? Well, besides it being lighter, what would happen? Well, maybe I could... Maybe I could come up here with it and lighten something. All right?
Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer just used the super chat and gave us $2. That
Oh,
helps
thank
us
you.
offset. Hey, speaking of that, don't you have a few people who think they're
Oh,
ginger?
I'm telling you what. I want to thank our sponsors.
Wait
for
a minute. Let's go to the pleading heart.
I want to go thank our sponsors for this month, who were so generous to donate to our scholarship fund, so that other artists could also take part in our Academy of Fine Art and help. And so I want to give a big shout out to Sharon Poof, who sponsored and just sent us a contribution and enabled a lady in Germany who is is deaf actually, and to have a month of art lessons with us. And because we're able to do these pictures now in close up, she apparently she can just watch our stuff and really see it, even though that we don't have any closed captioning. And I want to thank Andrew Asadi for his marvelous help with us this month. Andrew and Lord Cass and let's see, there was
Christine.
And Chris. Oh my gosh, Christine.
Christine was in panic mode.
Christine Gerst, who
Made sure that we're up for another month.
made sure that that our web service is up for another month when she found out that we're and now paying through the nose, so to speak, for our web service. And she just generously. So you guys, we thank you very much for that. And also that's going to help some other artists do be able to play with us, and also makes it possible for us to keep buying paint and materials. The one thing about it is that no one's sponsoring us, and that sense there's no paint companies are giving us anything. If we send you over to the brush guys, it's so that you can get your discount, and which is we really appreciate the fact that that they did an artist page for me. They've got one for Cinnamon, and Cinnamon actually was the first ones to find them, and shared the link. So again, I think that's important to mention, that we don't get here by ourselves. We all help each other, okay? And these are the ways that, because we want everybody to win here, and so I thank you guys very much for that, and that makes a huge difference. So thank you. And also Wendy, a good child, and then did a marvelous donation, and also she's one of our moderators, and we want to thank Kim Sung and Wendy for being our our moderators.
And Medina, she's on tonight.
And Medina to be our moderators. We thank you very much for that. And these things all make a difference. So now I'm going to just dry brush in a little bit of just barely touch it up here. I might suggest that there's some greenery up here kind of close to this. Just a little bit like that, just a little bit, and maybe I'll glaze that back in a minute. Okay, so now if you back me up for a minute, John, just back up from there. You see we're almost done with this.
Can we take a look? Let me go back it up enough so you can see them both for a
See,
second.
can you see the both of them? See, we're very close to this, so we're almost done with this. All right, and what we might want to do here is just take and make sure that this cliff right here, I'm seeing it in this picture, this one right here, I want a harder edge on right here. So I'm going to just come here like that and just darken that. Got a little bit of burnt umber purple. Maybe a little bit of Southern Ocean blue here too, and just darken that. Oh, John and I found something interesting today.
We did?
We did.
Oh.
You don't remember? It's okay, I remember. I remember. It was interesting and I remember it. So there. When we were taking a picture of this with our iPhone, it would not get the blue, would not photograph this blue. The Samsung would, John's old Samsung, it's not one of those ones that were on fire.
Oh, well.
It's not one of those.
Note for it. Yeah, there's a big difference in your cameras. When you take pictures of your photos, if you after you take a picture, especially on the phone,
yeah,
there's a huge difference. Mainly we shoot on the iPhone. That's the main camera that we use.
And we're taking stills of the pictures?
That Southern Ocean blue would not come out on it, so I whipped out the Samsung Note 4, one click, and it was just perfect.
Yeah, that was really interesting to me. I'm making a little bright orange down here. And so I thought that was very interesting. Anyway, so we thank very much our, everybody that's been helping us this month and in the past. We haven't ever, have not, said too much about this, but we want to say it now. So thank you. All right, we're in a little orange now, so we're going to start coloring some of this sand as we go up the cliff, close to the cliff, right? We're going to kind of darken some of this. Remember I told you maybe we'd push this one a little back, so it's a little further. And then kind of you give a little bit of brighter colors here in the front. This is cad red medium and cad yellow medium, but you could also do magenta and yellow. Have you ever done an orange with using magenta and yellow? Because that's really a bright orange too. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And then I
Oh,
just,
wait, let me go back to the orange.
I just want to,
How did you make that orange again? I'm sorry.
just magenta and yellow, cad
Oh.
yellow medium, but it's
All
pretty,
right.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a little bit brighter,
Nice color.
and it's a nice color, and you know, most of us just kind of get in the habit of just, you know, using the same old colors, and it's nice to, you know, kind of do that. And I'm going to take a little burnt sienna, add to that,
Darken it down a little bit.
and then, you know, maybe do a little bit of burnt sienna down in here like this toward the bottom. You know, there's never just ground cover. It's always kind of dirt and sand and stuff like that. Okay, so then we're going to do a little foliage here. So all I have to do is get a little bit of yellow and a little bit of Southern Ocean blue and make this bright green color. Now, this is golf course green. You can't use it. So let's take a little magenta and put in there and tone that back just a bit. And I'm just going to dot that on here like this. Make sure I've got that all mixed, and just using the corner of my brush, I'm going to just suggest some ice plant like this, kind of like here in the corner. And I think I'll take some ultramarine blue and magenta and a little bit of burnt umber, and I need a dark color too. I kind of lost some of my dark, so I'm going to just, this is our dark green here. I'm going to tap some of that on here too. Whenever you're doing plants, you have to have something to sort of offset them. So here we go. We're going to break that up a little bit. And then do we need to break up any of our cliff edges? You know, sometimes when you're getting all this dark green, you've got to put some of it. Sometimes you just have to come put some dark back. See, like that? We're putting a little bit of dark back. Okay. Then you'll see me
I've
wipe
got
the
a couple
brush.
questions for you. One
Yeah.
might be pretty simple. The other one's going to be a challenging one. But
Yeah.
Becoming Light is asking, what is the difference between magenta and processed magenta?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Something doesn't sound pure.
But I don't know. But I know that, for instance, you know, everybody says they're using quadrichrome magenta. Yes, we are. We're using quadrichrome magenta, you know. But again, depending on the brand of paint you're using. And sometimes the best thing to do is to call up those manufacturers and ask them this stuff. All right, going to lighten this up a little bit like that here, like there.
And Lynn is asking, can we dilute paint so we can use it in its chunky jar dry? If it's dried out, I think since it's acrylic, it's not going to come
It
back to
doesn't
life.
come back. It dries as plastic.
Yeah.
It doesn't come back. So if it's in a jar, if you're buying paint in a jar, the trick is to have a good seal on it. I have seen some people, I've never done it, but I have heard it suggested, and I don't think they're probably wrong, I'm a little lazy, is that when you have a jar of paint, to take some saran wrap, mist it with
Right.
acrylic, mist the paint with water, and some people say use distilled water, you know, because there's something about mold and stuff, but I've never had that happen. And then put some saran wrap or clear plastic wrap, and then screw the lid down and really seal it, you know. I've had some, it just depends on, you know, the paint. You know, if you saw John's video this week and we got all that free paint I really do not like paint in jars.
And
Oh
we got a
man,
ton
I
of
do
it.
not like white paint in jars. I mean, I'm taking it because it's free, you know.
Maybe Sam and I will get to use it, huh?
Well, it's not that so much, John. It's just that it's hard to keep it clean.
That's what
I mean,
said.
look at my
Sam and-
hands.
I know. That's why Sam and I will be using it.
Yeah, because it's definitely, you need to have a clean spoon all the time, and it's really easy to contaminate a jar of paint fast. Okay, so we keep layering this. You see that? Maybe put a little bit of white down here on the beach now. There you go. All right. So now, all right, back me up a bit. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Yeah.
Now let's go back up here with some yellow, and a little. Now I'm just going to dot on. Use just the corner of my brush, cad yellow medium and a little yellow oxide on the brush, and I'm just tapping on some little ice plant flowers here like this, kind of tiny ones, kind of group them. This is not freckles, okay, or stars. We're just sort of grouping them in little areas like that, and I don't want too much. Mostly it's yellow oxide with a tiny suggestion of the bright yellow in a couple places, okay, like that. We're just saying that there might be some, and then to suggest those up here, what we're doing is we just take the brush and just tap them on sideways. Now we're not actually painting them in at some point. We're just highlighting the ground cover that's up here on the edge like that. So we're just going to highlight it
You're suggesting
and
it.
make it, just suggest it there, and as opposed to putting it in. I mean, this is, I mean, weren't you kind of surprised at how easily this
Came together.
this came together? I mean, this is, again, not particularly hard. I'm going to take some Southern Ocean blue and some white and make sort of this sort of turquoise blue green with this, and add a bit of that in here too, because I think that's pretty. just coming on down here like that. I like that. Wipe the brush, tap on a bit of this color here, just kind of dry brushes next to our ground cover and our sand areas, right? Like that. Just to give it another little bit of a color, like that. And let's see, what else could we do? Oh, as long as we're doing that, let's take a little phthalo blue, Southern Ocean blue and white. Okay. Now let's look at our water for a minute. Could we add a little bit of kind of this green color to it right in here, like this? You know, sometimes if you notice that water gets a little greener when it comes towards shore. And you don't want to overpaint this, but you could certainly add some layers. I'm going to come back with a little Southern Ocean blue. This is my second layer of this. Maybe a little zinc white with it. Just Southern Ocean blue and zinc white. And I'm going to just darken this up a little bit back up here. And so, because it just sort of indicates something more happening with the water right here. Okay.
A little more.
And I want to leave all this light here. Don't want to fool with that at all. That's really nice here. I want to leave that, and I got to keep all the turquoisey colors kind of this way. But now look how interesting that is when you add just a bit of another color coming forward like that. All right.
I see that Marty's asking a question. John, is it possible to print on the back to avoid the glossy shine on the videos, i.e. use a matte finish? Basically, you want to shoot your artwork before it's been varnished.
Oh yeah, gosh! Don't try to shoot your artwork after it's been varnished. It's
like
all the
shooting
dark
through
green.
glass.
You get this horrible glow. It's just sort of, yeah. It's just, you got to, if you've varnished it and you've got to shoot it, go outside in really bright daylight, and that'll help you a little bit. All right, so I'm going to just come back here, and I think that I lost a little bit of my mountain, and I want to point that out because I'm going to kind of gray make a little gray color back here. I lost a little bit of this mountain back here, and I liked it in the other picture, so I'm going to just show you what you can do with that. Don't panic if something like that happens. All right, so here's my mountain, see, like that, and I'm going to bring it up a bit, okay, like that, because I've lost a little bit of this, okay, and I don't want to, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on there and dry it and put the mixing white back over it, and that way I won't have lost it. And make sure this is really level here, okay. That's very important. Okay, there you go. So now I'll dry that little bit and put the mixing white back. And while that's drying, I'll see if there's anything else I want to do. You see me always wiping my brush. I might take a little bit of titanium white, and kind of remember the bottom of your rocks have to be flat, level, like that. Okay. Here's a little white here, like that. There we go. See, it starts to change right over what we did here. Zigzag it. See how I'm zigzagging it? And allowing for just a little tiny bit of water like that. Look at that. See? Just by zigzagging the brush.
Is that titanium white?
That's just titanium white.
Wow.
And I've got it just on the edge here, and I'm zigzagging it. And again here, like this. I'll zigzag it like this. I don't need to continue it on over here. I might just take a little bit of the zinc. You'll see me just kind of switch back and forth, and maybe come this way from the edge to indicate that there's something happening out here we're not talking about. Okay? I mean, it's out there. We don't know.
But we're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about it. No, we're not talking about that. Okay?
No. Stop talking about that.
No, we're not talking about that. Okay, so this is kind of how you put it together. Let me dry this real quick, and then I'll show you what we're going to do to finish this.
All right, while she's drying that, let me show you Jolie did an ode to coffee. That has been one of our more popular items. We're seeing a lot of those starting to come in. You gotta love coffee. Everybody does except Sammy and I, apparently. And another one we have is Nicole did reflections. This is the lady's reflection. That is another absolutely gorgeous job. So those are the two we've got tonight, and Miss Ginger is back right here, and let's turn her up so we can hear her. And she's back.
Did you show our ode to coffee? Did you get to
did.
show that? Wasn't that great? I mean, I love that painting anyway. That ode to coffee painting. One of the things I like about what we have with our subscribing members is, even though we do a lot of stuff on YouTube, we do much longer lessons on our channel, and also we gingercooklive.gallery, and also every week our members get something new and different to paint. All right, so I've got it in the zinc white.
New and
I'm wiping
exciting.
it. I put it on the brush and now I'm wiping it off. And I'm just going to come over this like this. Now try a little more. Tap it off. So there we go. Now I'm going to now look what happened to this. See, but you can still see the hill here because I didn't like that you couldn't quite see it, but I've kind of erased some of it. See that? That sometimes you have to go back and do these fun little things to just sort of, tap into something. Maybe here I want to suggest that there was more of a separation between these two, like that. Remember, and I said I'd go over that green a little bit, like that. Coming up here all the way down, this little mist, this kind of mist. And let's see what else. There was anything else I want to do to this. I would say that
Can you back it out so we can take a look at the two?
yeah, back it out so I can kind of let me just move my palette out of the way now.
Oh, you're gonna put them side by side?
And I want to put them side by side and see if there's anything else I want to add. Just move all of this like this. Anything I want to add. Now when I look at this one, I need a little bit more light here. This is kind of what you do. You kind of just stand back and look at it and say, well, what if I had a little bit more light right in here? Just like while this one has it, maybe just a little bit lighter areas of this sand coming down this way on our beach, right? Lighten the sand up like that. Maybe I got a little bit dark. And that's easy to do. I mean, you know how to make your sand colors now, okay?
What color are you tapping in? I think they're
this is just white into that orange color, okay? And that sand color we made, a little bit of yellow oxide, a little bit of titanium white, okay? And we're just lightening it up. If you had buff titanium, that would work, okay? And let's see, I'm looking at this going, what else could I do that would be interesting? So I'm going to get a little more of that sand color and see where else I might want to put something. This is what you do at the very end of something, You're either adding light, so you're coming back and adding a few darks. So maybe I want to add a little light in here like this. Just in a couple places, just tap a little light right there. Do I need to add any more bright green? Maybe a little bit of bright green up here. I'll just sort of jump around. So this is, like I say, this is a kind of a fun thing. This is a fun painting. It's not hard. I just want you to try this. It's not hard to do. This is just a matter of layering colors. We're going to just the yellows. We're going to just brighten this up right here.
Wendy is asking, how do you desaturate green so that it's not so bright or intense in color?
Well, you have to. You remember, green is opposite red on the color wheel.
And we happen to have a color wheel tonight.
All right, now everyone should just own a color wheel, so you don't have to memorize this stuff. It's just there. It's just green's opposite red. So anytime you need to desaturate, as Wendy calls it, or tone back a green, or mute it. All right. So, for instance, here's a good example. Here's my little cup here. Do you see this bright green? You never want this green in a painting. See this bright green right here? That just can't be there. So in order to keep that, and you're more likely to get that with phthalo blue and phthalo greens, which is one of the reasons I don't recommend people buying phthalo green because it's too bright unless you're using it in an ocean picture, okay? So you can have some brighter colors up front, but you have to either put brown or red in them, brown having a red in it, to lighten it up. Now here we're just going to lighten up that right there, and then maybe here I'm just going to lighten up this, just a couple of places on that one. Don't think I want it quite that bright because farther things are away. This is one of these landscape rules. They're muted, so that was a little bright. So we'll just tone that down. But I did want to, have that a little bit brighter than that one. Maybe there's some green coming down here on the base of this cliff. That's possible. Could put that right there too. So a little bit of green that's kind of growing up this way up the cliff, like this. And how about in here too? I think we kind of lost a little green in here too. Some of our little brighter greens in here. Kind of we did. And we lost a little bit of our darks too. So what you do is you just kind of go back and wherever there's a dark, there's a light. You go back and you either are adding some light color or some dark color. And if you wanted to, you could add, like for instance, these would be pretty. It just, again, this is a personal taste issue as far as what you want to do, but you could take a little magenta and white and maybe a tiny bit of cad red with it, right? And if you wanted to, you could, this ground cover comes in some different colors. this ice plant. And if you like that, you could add a few little flowers here. Just tap a few in that might be growing. Kind of grows in sections. And you know, John and I debated whether even to put this in. You can kind of see what it looks like with or without. Then I'll put a little yellow with that and make it almost this little orange bit. See, now I'm going to kind of brighten them up right here like this.
Here's a good question for you. Cheryl is asking, why is the blue on the picture further down the beach? Between, I guess the left is further down than the right?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Well, you have more blue on the right than you do on the left.
Oh, it's just probably how I drew it in.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. You're just talking about drawing in 3 cliffs.
Well,
I mean,
it's the
the
blue.
idea
We're talking
behind
about
this-
the blue color.
Oh, which blue color?
Why is the blue on the picture further down the beach?
Well, there's a dark cliff right here, which we still have to put. You know, we have a dark. I'm seeing that this cliff right here, that's dark, and it's got a blue tone to it, right? This is a dark cliff right here. There's your dark cliff, and I want a little bit of brown in that. I don't want quite that blue, right? I'll put a little brown in it, but that's a dark cliff right there. Okay, that's there, and then you've got your other. You know, you've got this. This is your other cliff there. Okay, so let's put a little bit of. There we go. Let's just fix that a little bit right like that. But this is a. So you want to be able to differentiate between these two. You know, I mean, I'm freehanding these things in, you guys. So it's just however you want to paint it. I think that this is let me tone that back just a hair with a little brown on it, right, like that. And also acrylics dry darker, so that when I'm putting on a color in one way, it might go one way, and the next time I paint it, it might go another. But and let's see, I want to just play with my rock out here a little bit. Did I lose a rock? Let's see, let's get this out of the way. Put my glasses on so I can see something. All right, so I've got my little rock out here like this, and I like these little brushes because you can use the corner of your rock. Now remember, the bottom of the rock has to stay flat. Okay, so here's another little rock up here. So you've got to have the bottom of it flat. You can have some white in between them like this, but the water's coming up around them like that, you know, in between them. There you go. All right, there you go. So it's just a little bit of, there's our little bit of rock, and you know, you can play with it. Here's a little bit of, ooh, that's a pretty color right here. So let's put a little bit intenser blue right here like this, by these rocks, right like that. See? I mean, I could sit here and play with this for another hour, but I think we're pretty good. I think the idea of how you would paint this and get that, let me just move this out of the way now so that I can kind of, so let's just focus on this one since that's the one we're kind of working on right now. Let me move it back over here, John, so I can see it. John's got it hidden right behind the camera, and I can't see anything. I need to see it. We've moved the camera a little bit where my monitor where I can see it. I'm going to just take a little bit of yellow and white and tap in some yellow or flowers right in here like that on top of these red ones. You know, just come down on here like this and say I've got some flowers that might be living here on our front cliff like that. Okay. And I would say at this point, you know, we're pretty good. You could probably feel good about signing it at this point. So just play with a little bit of color right in here. I wanted to darken this up, or just have an extra little range of color right in here.
We can positively say, like Sue is saying, that you have gingerized this as compared to the original photo.
Yeah, we have, right? And we have, and I don't mind. Now I'm going to show it to you. All right. Now we're not going to work on the photo. Now you're going to see it. All right. Now I'm going to show you the original photo. Now that I've had a chance to play with this a little bit and work on it, because what I had to do is what I found is that verticals don't work very well. The thumbnail doesn't show up on YouTube, and so you just really don't. I don't do a lot of verticals anymore, but I like a lot of photos that are vertical. So what I had to do here was sort of change this to into a vertical, from a vertical to a horizontal. All right. So that was my mission, was to do that. Okay, here we go. Now make sure you've broken up this water line a bit, and you've got some translucent stuff. So here's our photo. You want to bring all that back. Here's our photo. We've got some nice deep cliffs. And then here's our picture.
Close, but no cigar.
No, it's just, it was a reference. This is
Right.
when you take
That's
a
all it
photo
was.
like this, you're not copying the photo. You're saying, okay, so there's my photo. What could I paint here and suggest, how could I suggest an ocean? What could I paint that would allow this, this ocean to still look good? Because you can't, this is a very busy picture. If you put all the stuff that was in that other one in the ocean, you've got to have some rest areas. And so this ocean can't be allowed to be too busy. And the reason for that is that because the cliffs and everything are very busy, okay? So you've got to keep this ocean very calm. That you can play with the tones of the water, but the rest of it, really, I promise you, the rest of it has to be very, very calm. That's the whole idea behind something like this. Very, very calm, so that when you go back to your cliffs have got all the pattern in them, so you've got to keep this part of the pattern very simply. Now that's too much water. I'm just going to tone that back a little bit back in here too.
Rebecca is asking if you're still seeing rainbows around the moon.
I'm not seeing rainbows around the moon anymore. Isn't that great? And I have to say that the eye surgery is that I am seeing a lot of colors. Obviously, I can't read labels, but that wasn't because it wasn't big enough. I mean, they couldn't have made it bigger if they tried on that Liquitex thing, and I thank everybody for that. All right, so I'm just kind of darkening that in the background a little bit there.
Hey, does Ginger have an opinion about board canvases versus stretch canvases?
Oh, yeah. Well,
That comes in from Cindy Lou.
all right, Cindy, board canvases are, and we've used them a few times. Board canvases just canvas glued on cardboard, so you're really just painting on cardboard. It's very thin, inexpensive canvas, and the gesso and it's never really very good. So it doesn't. You watch everybody getting results, and you're not getting those results, and it's your canvas. Okay, so here, let's just fix that.
So I guess the bottom line is you prefer the stretch canvas.
I prefer the stretch canvas, I really do. But if you're going to do a board canvas, I watched somebody on YouTube, this guy that does these little, forget his name, but he does these sort of like tea roses that you see on teapots in fine china. Does a lot of that kind of painting. And he takes that modeling paste and smears it on there like butter, and covers the whole canvas board with modeling paste, does a bunch of them, lets them dry, and then they're really nice to paint on. They're really nice to paint on when you do that. You can get great detail, and they're very fine. So they've got their purposes, and they certainly have their uses. For sure, they have their uses. All right, I would say that we've got a picture, you guys. This is how we're going to paint this. Let me move this little piece of paper underneath it. I'd say that that's kind of fine. I think that we did that pretty good.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half, and because we hope we answered some questions for you.
Oh, we have another one for you.
Yeah.
Cuds is asking, did Ginger work on the barn that she started last week or a few weeks ago? The little barn that you started?
Yeah, no.
I started that one, and I am not imagining enough to finish it without her help.
No, you didn't. No. It's I'm sorry. I have not worked on it. We got some other stuff got in the way. Do you have our wishing well painting?
I do.
We've got this painting. We're going to tell you more about it. We worked on this, and I've got this neat poem we made to go with this painting. This is so cool. Got to thank all our friends who helped us on this poem. John and I wrote this poem to go with this painting. But we'll tell you about. We've got this. We've got this wishing well painting. Is this not fun? And we're going to tell you how we're going to release this painting. And right now, the videos are all processing that made it. This wishing well painting, and this was really we kind of worked on that this weekend, and I really like this a lot. I hope you guys like it too. We're going to tell you how we're going to do that. This is really fun. And we got, like I say, neat poem to go with the picture, and I like the idea of a wishing well because you can hang it on the wall and walk by and make wishes. Which is kind of good, right? Don't you love the waterfalls in the background and all that stuff? So, see, you see, I'm in a Southern Ocean blue mood. Can you see the colors here? Can you see that?
You seem to be in that mode.
Can you see that? Can you see it's something in the colors here, right? So, all right. So that was the wishing well painting. Hope you guys like that. We'll tell you more about that as time goes on, and we'll see you tomorrow night. We're going to be doing something totally different. But again, I want to. Oh, wait! Before I do that, I want to just suggest to you that on the wave and water class, which I don't know, how do we get away from these things though? Dave just gets away. Back up, please.
I'm backing. I'm backing.
Here's our wave. This is a painting from our wave and water masterclass. This was one of the releases for February. We have some very, very intricate, detailed paintings. Not all of them are, but again, you can see how we painted this. You know, that's learning how to paint something like this is a step before learning how to paint that. A couple other pictures that we've got. We add a new painting every month to the Wave and Water Masterclass. The people who subscribe to that on our channel. It's a separate deal. And I love this one with all the greens and the foam and the water and the rocks and how to paint rocks. So these are all, some of these are very intricate, all step-by-step lessons. Here's one of my absolute favorites. This one with the rocks and the wave and the water and all that. I love this one. This is one of our Wave and Water Master Classes too. So I was going to invite you to, if you haven't been over to our website, gingercooklive.gallery, check us out. And if you had fun painting this, I think we have a couple of water pieces on YouTube. We've got a wave. So one of the first ones we did shot with our first camera. Got a wave, and then we've also got a couple of sunsets. So this is our picture. And anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. And be sure to share these things, and even though we go off the air, if you come back and comment, the wonderful comments you made tonight, they disappear when you do. Oh. That sounds ominous.
It does, really, doesn't
it? They disappear when you do. So if we love your comments, and most of them anyway. Most of them, we love them, and so we'd love to see more of those. But the thing of it is that, and I see something I have to do while we're talking. Because see, isn't that funny when you look and you see, I just see more stuff I have to do. This brush has been in water. So the thing of it is that if you would come back, if you're going to watch this again, be sure to comment. Thumbs up and likes are nice. And when you put these in your playlist, when you put these videos, or any of the artists that you like, if you put our videos in your playlist, YouTube thinks that's a sign that more people might like them. And then what will happen is, that you may not know this, is that they'll show the video on, they'll advertise it for us a little bit. So if you don't mind, if you're going to watch it anyway, I would appreciate you, when you get a chance, throwing these in your playlist. That's a nice thing to do. Thanks very much.
In regards to the silent auction, it has not begun yet. We had some website issues that we just finished clearing up, and we have to get our site back up and operational for all of that. But that will be coming up. I believe somebody asked a question about what's your opinion between gesso canvas versus sanding canvas?
Well, the thing of it is that you sand the canvas. Even if you gesso it, you still have to sand it. You have to sand between coats of gesso.
So you can't get a canvas ungessoed. You can't paint without a gesso.
Yeah, the canvas, you guys, is fabric. It's fabric. You can't paint on that. Look, you can't. I'm sorry, but you can't paint on it. So the gesso is the layer of stuff between you and your painting. And so the reason you sand it is so to smooth out the gesso.
Get it rough and save your brush.
Because it's rough, unless you bought a portrait canvas or something, which then you wouldn't have to sand it. But you pay a lot of money for it. Sandpaper's $1.
There you go.
Okay, or linen canvases. You probably don't have to sand linen either. But again, linen's pricey. Okay, do you see? I just felt like I had to do a little bit here. You don't
and this
mind,
is what we had today when we were trying to finish up some shooting. Are you all done? Oh yeah, I'm done. And I think it was like a half hour later, she's still playing with it.
I was still doing it. I know. But just every once in a while, you just see stuff.
So the question is the painting ever done?
Well, yeah, because you just have to put I'm putting the brush in water and stopping. I would sign it here. I am. I kind of like the little flowers here. I like that little stuff that, that little bit of flowers and stuff that we had there. And I liked all that. And I thought that was fun, the little ice plant. And I like our little cliff. And I think this was, I thought that what we did with this was really break it down in a simple way to paint it. Everybody should be pretty successful painting this.
It's getting better with the tablets. I think we found a problem, and we haven't fully tested it yet. We just found that last night at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and the brain gave up after that. So we have to go back and continue. We're continuing going through the site. We have to update a bunch of files. I mean, tons of stuff.
John, they can't see the question. Whoever's listening to this can't see. What's the problem with what tablet?
Who was that?
Somebody wanted to have a problem with
the D asked a question about using an iPad tablet or a Samsung or an Android tablet on our website.
Okay.
Good point. Quick draw.
John, the thing of it is, what happens is that John is our tech guy. So if you ever have any problems with your toys, John's the guy. He's their go-to guy. One of the advantages of being a member is that you get, you get great help. But we have people that say, I can't talk on chat on YouTube when you guys are on. How do I do that? And John walks people through it. So he's great at that. And he's always, you can watch our lessons on an iPhone, an iPad, a television.
On the big screen TV.
A big screen TV.
Yeah, we're trying to make it compatible on everything.
And that takes some doing. I mean, we've seen some companies, some big deal companies. I mean, like, not talking about art companies, but, people that sell other stuff, and gone on their websites, and you couldn't watch it on a phone. You could, try to do that on your phone, pull up a business on your phone, and their websites are not compatible with phones, but ours are. So there.
And Cindy Lou is asking a question, are you going to have the angels for sale? Any angels for sale? We have the angel with the harp for sale currently.
Yes, we have the angel for the harp for sale currently, and guess what, you guys? We have a new feature we forgot to tell you. Honestly.
Always new and exciting from us.
Is that if you go over to any of our videos that are for sale now, we make them available for how many hours? 72 hours?
72-hour rental.
72-hour rental.
Now, you won't be able to download a rental. You have to watch it through the Vimeo player.
Oh, and then tomorrow's the last day to watch the birthday video for free. All right, remember our birthday video? Do we have that anywhere, our birthday picture?
Of course we do.
Of course we do. So remember, though, just, if you go to our website, remember the birthday picture with the garden path? Tomorrow's the last day to get that for free, to be able to go to our website, watch it for free, or download it for free. We've had over 2,000 people take advantage of that, but that's this picture here. And so you can still download and own that. Tomorrow's like our last day. And then after that, it will be available on our website first and on Vimeo for sale. Okay, so anyway, we had that free for a month, and we had a lot of fun with everybody who came over and did that. And I've certainly loved seeing all the garden pathways you guys did, and some people have just knocked themselves out with this, so that was fun too. So thanks. All right, so that's got to be the last announcement.
Oh, she means buying the painting? Oh, the angel probably won't be for sale for a while. No, we don't even have them anymore, do we? All our angels are gone.
Oh, the actual paintings?
Yeah, I think
well,
she wanted to buy.
The actual paintings, we gave the angels away.
Yeah.
Remember, we were only going to give one away, and then we asked people to, that if you knew anybody, how that worked was, if you knew anybody that needed an angel in their life, then write us and tell us why, and then we would do a drawing, and somebody would get an angel. We were reading these stories, and we thought that more than one angel needed to go out, so we gave away the paintings. 2 angels went out.
Yeah.
The 2 angels went out. But this is why we wanted this wish one. This is why I wanted this wish thing, because this, kind of like angels, people need wishes. And so this wish one's going to be real important for that too. That kind of wish, all kinds of things for people. So here's our wish one that we'll tell you more about and be released real soon.
The rentals are $4.95 and below. Depends on the lesson, but they're like $4.95. We have them $3.95. I think we have some that are even $1.95. So very inexpensive to try our lessons.
We're trying that. It's an experiment. We've never done that before, but we're just trying it to see what you guys think.
All right, with that, I think we're going to call it a night because I'm tired and Sammy's already gone.
He's crashed out over there on the table. Night, everybody. Night, John. Night, Sammy.
Good night, Ginger. Night, Sammy. And good night from Houston, Texas.